Hello and welcome to the 214 Sports Show, episode 80, the Kumar Rocker episode. I apologize if my voice sounds a little weird. I'm recovering from a sickness. I'm your host, DJ Krilowicz, joined by Joseph Duffy. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing great, man. Very bad blown lead today for the old Texas Rangers. You hate to see it as, we're recording this on a Wednesday evening, by the way. So I guess we'll actually have time to really, digest on this blown series, basically, that should have been a get back series before they head to Toronto. But very disappointing. Glad to be back with you, TJ.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is some raw, pure emotion coming from both of us right here because we're recording this right after the blown save by Phil Madden in the top of the ninth against the Diamondbacks on Wednesday. But yeah, I mean, this is episode 80, the Kumar Rocker episode. We're going to talk about the Rangers, we're going to talk about the Cowboys, and I'll tell you right now, I don't know how much smiling there's gonna be in this episode, man. Ain't shit to smile about.
Nothing's funny.
Hey, sorry, man. Gotta
Nothing
gotta get
funny.
that smile out because it's depressing, man. This is some straight depressing stuff. So let's start off with some good news on today's date, something that I always like to do. Give you a nice feeling about today before we go into the depressing present of Dallas sports. But on today's date, August 14th, 2023, the Texas Rangers, they beat the Los Angeles Angels, shut them out 12-0. The Angels only got one hit this game. Trout was not playing, but Ohtani was playing. Angels only got one hit this game, all because of Max Scherzer. Martin Perez pitched the last two innings, but Max Scherzer, 7 innings pitched, one hit allowed, 11 strikeouts. And the Rangers go on to have an offensive explosion, 13 hits. I wonder when, this is a trivia question, when was the last time the Rangers had 13 hits on offense? But got the Rangers. Simeon hit a home run. Adolis Garcia, another one who just recently went to the IL present day. But yeah, something light. 71 and 48 was the record for the Rangers at the time 2 years ago today.
A dream, by the way, for today. My
Yep,
God.
61 and 61 now. So pretty unfortunate stuff. So let's get straight into the Texas Rangers, though, coming straight off of a heartbreaking series loss to the Diamondbacks. Had the lead in all three games. Started off with an amazing comeback in game one. Everybody thought this was maybe a turn for the better for this team, maybe a momentum push, but it just, I guess, lined the fire for the Diamondbacks because especially Ketel Marte, who, need I remind you, was the last out for a World Series, by the way, but hit the game-winning home run Tuesday night against the Rangers, blasted it in the left field, make it 3-2. Rangers ended up losing, and then, of course, broke all hell loose in Wednesday's game with his three-run homer to give the Diamondbacks the win. Joe, I mean, is this season over?
I don't want to say it's over just yet, but this is quite the disappointing series. One of my buddies, by the way, who is a Diamondbacks fan, was saying after this third game, Ketel Marte hates the Rangers, and at this point, I believe him. I mean, this dude balls out pretty much every time he faces us. He had a great World Series. He had a great postseason in 2023, but
Yeah.
in this series again, he's killing us. And you saw it happen again in games two and three. Completely was the hero in that 3-2 victory in game two, and then you saw it again in game three where Phil Maton just could not shut the door, even with two outs on the board, and we thought the game was over. Still, this Rangers team could not secure it. And so you see the offense that was an issue for the majority of the season still is technically an issue. Not a lot of, high scoring besides that game one victory. But now we're seeing the bullpen issues. Now we're seeing even some starting pitching issues with Nathan Eovaldi, who had probably his worst start of the season in game one, ended up winning it anyways. But Jack Leiter still struggling as well, ended up finishing the game. But his pitch count is high a lot of times before he gets to the fifth inning. So I don't know what to say about this team at this point. They're a 500 team. That's all you can really say. They're just mid. They're 500.
Yeah, and here's something just real quick. So Rangers are 61-61. They have a plus 58 run differential on the season. Plus 58. 61 and 61. The team that we are about to play, the Blue Jays, 70 and 50, by the way. Run differential of 50.
Mm. The pitching has been
We have
carrying.
the
Yeah.
largest run differential in the AL West as well. 7 games back from the division from the Astros. We beat them in run differential. We beat them in run differential with the Mariners as well. So here's my controversial opinion, all right? This is the same thing that happened in 2023. We had the biggest run differential in the AL by far, still ended up being a wild card team. I think Bochy needs to go. I think that there's just, I understand, man. It's the World Series. That's something that no manager in the Rangers history has ever done. And that is something that you got to hold your head high up for. You got to respect him for that. But there is too many situational times in the season and past seasons that there has just been a total collapse through the manager spot, whether that's letting somebody stay in for too long, flipping the lineups a little bit too much. And I understand this offense is just abysmal, man. It is totally awful, and I don't think it's fixable at all. But these lineups that just keep getting put out, we talked about it in a couple weeks ago, like, the Detroit game against Tariq Skubal. We had 3 people in there that were probably in the Triple A's right now in the lineup. I mean, there's just so many times where we have had very questionable lineups. Jock Peterson should not be batting fourth anymore. It took a while for Adolis Garcia to drop in the lineup. It took a while for him to move Josh Smith up in the lineup. These are things that should be happening sooner. The rotation is interesting with the bullpen. The bullpen, look, they have little to no room for error. So when they mess up, I try to give them just a little bit of slack. But it's at the point where there's not a lot there's I can't defend them anymore, I guess. You're 4-2, you're up 4-2, top of the ninth, 2 outs. I turned the TV off. I thought the game was over. And the game's not over. They end up losing by 2. They gave up 4 runs before getting that final out and not scoring in the bottom of the ninth. This team is terrible, and I hate to blame it on Bochy, but Bochy is a huge part as to why we cannot get I guess is I think he's just a big reason why we have the record that we have right now instead of it being a lot better. And I don't know. I mean, it's just so weird. So weird to see this team turn from 2023 to 2025. I mean, it's a lot of guys from the World Series team, same manager, but something has just happened. And I think Bochy needs to go, and I think this team maybe needs to get blown up.
The worst part to me is that they traded off some valuable prospects for these bullpen pieces, and they've been majorly good for since the trade deadline. I think Phil Maytown, this is probably his worst outing since we got
Well,
him.
they
He had
blew
a
both
good
games
show.
against Arizona, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But like Danny Coulomb gave up his first home run, not just as a Ranger, the whole season with that home run he gave up to Ketel Marte in the ninth inning. It's unreal, man. So that's too nice that your bullpen really has cost you a game. But again, you talk about game two specifically because that's the one that really bothered me. They didn't have a hit, I believe. The broadcaster didn't have a hit. Uh, I think at the fourth inning. Since the fourth inning, at that point,
Oh my God.
um,
I
I mean, the
know.
offense has just been abysmal all season long, but I think it was either the third or fourth inning they didn't have a hit towards the end of the game. So I'm like, your pitching is doing what they can. You look at the final score, giving up 3 runs isn't like terribly bad, but when you're scoring like 2 or less almost every single game, it seems like, I mean, at some point, something has to give. And I understand what you're saying about Bruce Bochy, about possibly not, being here next year. I feel like he may be on the way out either this year or next year. And they'd be classy about it too. I don't think they'd straight up fire him, but I think that he'd probably, step down, just being the first guy to win a championship for this franchise. I think he'd go out with grace. But I do think that, you pulled this guy out of his retirement to manage this team. who you thought was going to be good for a long time. I think it could be time after this year to move in a different direction if you're Chris Young, and I'd understand it completely. So I don't think, your words are invalid when you're talking about Bruce Bochy possibly moving on. They have some young candidates who can possibly replace him. I keep thinking of guys like Skip Schumacher, who is currently the assistant to the manager right now, who they've stashed from the Marlins organization. A young guy, former major leaguer. He's played with the Cardinals, of course, was on that World Series team that beat us in 2011. But there's plenty of other candidates who could possibly replace him too. And I'm not trying to sound ungrateful. Some Rangers fans will say, you haven't seen anything bad yet and you're living in the glory days. You're spoiled. I understand that. But for what this team was advertised, for the free agents that we thought were going to show up, this team should not be 500. This is
Yeah,
actually
absolutely.
insane. Insanity.
Yeah, they should be fighting for the AL West right now. And like you said, I mean, this is Bruce Bochy. I feel like there's a lot of people who don't want to say that he should be gone because, again, he is the manager that brought home a World Series. But you look at some of these comparisons, you talk about like somebody like Adolis Garcia. I would argue that Adolis Garcia has a bigger help in winning that World Series than Bruce Bochy did. He was on the field and he had an amazing impact. And now it seems like the majority of fans want him gone. And it's just weird to see that. I feel like some fans are still sticking with Bruce Bochy. I think, unfortunately, I think his age has caught up to him, maybe. I don't think that he is the right decision for a manager anymore. I think, again, it's the lineup changes, not doing it enough, and then doing it too much. And then I don't know. It's a tough job, obviously. You can't always be right. You're going to be wrong a lot of the times, but there's too many continued trends. So, and like you were saying about this that Tuesday game real quick, Jake Woodford, by the way, Jake Woodford, reliever for the Diamondbacks. I remember looking up, I went to the game. I remember looking up at the big screen. He had given up 28 hits and 19 innings pitched. All right. I looked at his stats from today or from Tuesday while I was at the game. 3 innings pitched, 0 hits allowed. That is pathetic. That is
That's crazy.
straight up double A activities from this lineup. All right. This guy has given up hits left and right in the MLB, and he gave 3 straight innings of perfect innings. It is unacceptable. Unacceptable.
And may I also say, before we close out this segment, Robert Garcia, man, I don't know what Bochy's affinity is with Robert Garcia. Why is this guy?
Investigate Robert Garcia. Investigate him.
That play in game two, dude, investigate that, please. MLB, take a look. It's getting ridiculous, man. Every time this guy is in, you're getting at least one run surrendered. It's getting bad. He had a great first half, but when you trade this guy for your Gold Glove, Silver Slug first baseman, straight up, it was man-to-man trade, nothing else, no prospects. Come on, dude. Plays like that,
Yeah.
it's a microcosm of the
See,
entire season.
yeah, and that's another Bochy decision right there. Why did we put Robert Garcia out there when he has been very, very poor in one-run situations in the last month? He's been very poor, and we put him in with a one-run lead. He gives it up, and it should be an earned run. I don't know if they count it as an earned run, but it should be an earned run since it was his error. But I mean, it was just I was dumbfounded to see him there. And then he does that on the first at bat that he
My
faces, first batter that he faces, trips on the ball, grabs it, and I thought it looked terrible in person. I watched it on my phone afterwards. It looked even worse on TV, man. That was abysmal. Investigate him for that, man.
I can't imagine seeing that in person. That must have been a trip. What in the world? I knew he was gonna throw it too. I was just hoping, please, just eat it, man. Just don't throw this. Don't force this
Oh
play.
man.
Oh
Dude,
my
that was
God.
yeah.
What in the world?
I couldn't believe my eyes. I really couldn't believe my eyes. I think I had to go get a beer after that. But
Come on, dude. What are we doing? It's bad. We're pleading for help in Arlington. We're pleading for help in the DFW Metroplex.
yeah, so anyways, the Rangers who are again have a better run differential than the 70 and 50 Blue Jays, but are now 61 and 61 will be playing in Toronto and then having a road stretch. I believe 4 games in Kansas City afterwards, which is 7 game road trip after uh 1-5 homestand after beating the Yankees. Not looking too good compared to their last road series and
Boy, oh
also
boy.
their road record this season, which is over 10 games below 500 now. Not looking too bright for the Rangers. You know, you always want to say never, but that might have just been the thorn to the Rangers, or I guess I don't know. It's just might have been the nail in the coffin for the Rangers season. Just tough, man. The Bochy bat. Oh shit, I really messed up there. The Bochy gap year. That propaganda, it's so hard to let go of.
What better team though to break that whole like curse than the Texas Rangers? I
Than
mean,
the
we've seen
2025 Texas
we are the
Rangers.
exceptions. We are the exceptions in literally anything. It doesn't
Yep.
matter.
Yep.
Anything you think is possible because of a certain stat, forget about it. It's the Texas Rangers.
Mm-mm.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. So, moving on to the other team that is now finally about to be in season. You think it's tough moving on from the Rangers? You got the Dallas Cowboys coming up now. Dallas Cowboys are in the bat in the batting circle, man, or whatever. I can't even
On deck
on,
circle, yeah.
on deck circle. Yeah, the Cowboys are on the on deck circle for Dallas sports, and so if you think the Rangers are bad, get ready. Um, Pretty bad performance against the Los Angeles Rams for their first preseason game. What a surprise! Run defense, not too good, huh? Um,
Oh.
And also, it was our first time to see Joe Milton, who had a lot of hype. We're kind of talking about it last week. He goes out there, doesn't play like I think a lot of people expected him to play. I didn't think he was going to go out there and be a superstar, but I guess I should have. I guess I wanted him to play a little bit better than I guess Trey Lance's preseason performances, but it felt pretty Trey Lancey performance there from Joe Milton. Joe, how do you think about Joe?
Joe Milton, he's got a strong arm. I'll tell you that. He's got a strong arm. It's just that unfortunately it does not go where it's supposed to go on some of those throws. But yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen in this backup race. Really wonder what they're gonna do here. Because there are some bright spots even in that blowout of a preseason game. I just knew they weren't going to win that game after like the first part of the first quarter. But you look at the first, I guess, showing of the Schottenheimer era. I think Israel McQuam had a good showing. I had a nice little snag for interception. Off that Stetson Bennett pass, he did pretty good. Phil Maffa got a good bulk of carries. I think he could have been more explosive, but he was all right. But Maris Leah found defensively. Um, he also was a bright spot as well. This is his second year, I believe. So his second roll through training camp, second preseason, playing good. So I think that those guys were good, but offensively, not a lot of bright spots that I saw in the game. I mean, I don't know about you. But it was just an all right performance. Not a lot of guys I was like, oh, this guy's a diamond in the rough who is making a team that nobody's heard of, that nobody's expecting. But it's the first preseason game. You're not going to see that a lot. So,
Right. And
yeah.
I always just don't care about preseason games. I think it is important to talk about them, but in the end, I don't think preseason games are an accurate form of what the season's going to be, especially, of course, when you're the Dallas Cowboys and you rest 95% of your starters and the other 5% basically only being special teams. Um, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Joe Milton has just been I think that was a very good humbling moment because I think that there's a lot of times where he's probably seen online as well all the fans that have been kind of hyping him up. This is definitely still Dak's team. I think that there's a little bit of an overreaction from the fan base, but I still think that he's a very viable backup option, and I'm kind of excited. I'm still excited to see what he can do in the second game against Baltimore. This is again just the first game, and I think that Joe Milton's still a very good backup quarterback. The run game was very eh. Malik Davis, if you were still tuned in the second half, Malik Davis actually had an impressive stat line, 9 yards per carry. Um, and then I mean Phil Maffa was. I saw a tweet saying something where it's like if you need 1 yard, Phil Maffa will get you three.
I
If you need
saw
10 yards, Phil Maffa will get you three.
it.
And
Phil Maffa.
I mean, I didn't expect Phil Maffa to come out here and be a superstar. He was he was a very that's kind of what he was at Clemson, He wasn't a breakout guy. He was somebody who get there and knew the yardage that he needed to get and would try to go get that. And so I think Phil Maffa is a good depth running back, not somebody as a starter for sure, but somebody who's definitely good depth and somebody who can develop and hopefully be somebody in the future for us. But
Dude.
yeah, offense. Rivaldo Fairweather got the catch, got the TD for rookie tight end. He played all right, but definitely not anybody. Jalen Tolbert, I wish would have performed a little bit better. Was kind of the
Hmm.
no-show, and you kind of that was a little bit concerning, but I don't know. I mean,
Dude, how about one of my favorite quotes actually getting manifested through the lips of Jerry Jones? I don't know if you saw the quote he said a few days ago, but the Cowboys are a soap opera 365 days a year. When it gets slow, I'll stir it up. My God. Read the room, man, please. What are we doing, Jerry Jones? I don't know if you saw Denzel too. I don't know if you saw that on ESPN. He was in First Take and whew, only what Denzel could do. The whole monologue. By the way, people are figuring out that he's a Cowboys fan. I think I figured that out a few months ago. It's not a popular thing because he's not really at Cowboys games. And also, he's from New York, so people assume he's just a Giants fan. But, hearing that from a big time celebrity saying, I'm not into the Oscars, let's talk about the box office or something like that. Um, it's very concerning to hear that on that from an actor like his caliber, calling out and owning like that, looking right at the camera, saying you haven't been to the show in a minute. It's been 30 years, man. So I don't know what it'll take for it to be a wake-up call for Jerry Jones if Denzel Washington doesn't get your attention. Denzel Washington, of all people, I get he's not
I don't even think
a
Micah
football
Parsons
figure.
got his attention at that point. Micah Parsons called him out, and he's not. I mean, I think that nobody's changing Jerry Jones, and I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible for him to go and say that. It's really like a mission. It was like a mission because, we were always talking about Jerry Jones obviously being one of the worst GMs in the NFL and, just making the Cowboys a soap opera. But why did he have to say the loud part or the obvious part out loud? Why did he have to say that? I mean,
Very
it's just
sad.
like it is seriously so maddening because you look at Nico Harrison and when he traded Luca and he wouldn't even talk to the public. He would barely even he didn't even have any press conferences until basically after the year ended. And I mean, hey, at least he wasn't going out there and saying the stupid things. He was saying some stupid things, but he wasn't going out there and just making a fool out of himself like Jerry Jones does. It is unbelievable what Jerry does, man.
It's
It's
pretty
unbelievable.
funny how, like, after the post Luca trade, we were thinking, has this dude officially overtaken Jerry Jones as, the most
He took
incompetent
that
owner?
personally, man.
I mean, he took it personally.
He took it
Clearly
real
clearly
personally.
that offended him. My God, what a past few 2 months we've seen from Jerry Jones just turning up the heat on, the conversations between him and Nico.
Oh
My
man.
God,
Oh
we're
man.
sorry, Jerry. Please,
Jerry, yeah,
please,
Jerry. We got you,
we
man.
apologize. We got it. Dang, man, Jerry
Did
Jones,
you
bro.
see what he recently said too from the Netflix show that's been coming out with the Cowboys? I haven't been watching it at
All
all,
about his
but
sickness or something like that.
yeah, dude,
Yeah, I
survived
didn't
stage
had
4
no
cancer in
clue.
2010.
Had no
He said a
clue.
miracle drug, which just sounds like a cure for cancer if you're rich like him.
Hmm.
But man, that is some crazy stuff.
Who knew, bro? Very, very crazy, And this whole
It,
off season, there is never gonna be just a chill off season. It can
it's
never be normal.
I hate to say it, but it's almost like after that happened, after he survived that he just decided that he was going to make the Cowboys the biggest comedic thing that he could possibly do. Like he just stopped taking it seriously after that.
You just keep getting laughed
20,
at, man. It
I
never
feel like
ends.
that was when 2010 was like, all right, it's been 15 years now. It's been 15 years now. You got a little bit of a bubble. 15 years, not too much. There's teams that don't accomplish anything for 50 years. Look at the Eagles. 15 years, just all right. All right. But
It's
now you
just,
get the 2015, 2020. Now you've had some chances as well, and it's like, oh no. Now it's really a curse.
mm,
But I
it's
mean,
crazy, man.
man, what would we be without Dallas sports? You did
The
not
gift
see
that
this
keeps
show,
on
man.
giving.
Please save us, stars. Please Please don't be a Western Conference Finals outing again, man. It's I need some team because Lord knows it's not going to be the Mavericks. But that's
Somebody
going to
save
do it
us.
for episode 80 of the 214 Sports Show. The Kumar Rocker episode. Hopefully, Kumar Rocker is I haven't seen his minor league stats recently, but hopefully he's been doing well and hopefully he's a major piece for the Rangers going forward because I'm a big fan of him. I think that he's gonna be a really good pitcher, but that's going to do it for us. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys did, please like, subscribe, share. You can follow us um, at 214 Sports Show on YouTube and Spotify. You can also follow us on our social media accounts where we provide some extra insight, just extra on today's dates, just some good Dallas sports content. You can follow us there on Twitter, Instagram, and also X at the 214 Sports Show. And Joe, would you like to tell the audience your socials?
Indeed, I would. Instagram at Joseph underscore Duffy 99. Same on X/Twitter at Joseph underscore Duffy 99. You can also follow me on TikTok, post some occasional takes there at JOE underscore DUFFEY.
Some occasional takes, but definitely trying to get some TikTok fame, huh?
Yeah, trying to do what I can on the internet side. I used to be so scared to post, but now
Oh
I
man,
just post it.
you guys need to follow him. It's some pretty good content from Joseph
Appreciate it.
Duffy out there on TikTok. But you can follow me on. Unfortunately, I don't have a TikTok. I'm not savvy enough to be doing all that stuff. But I'll be
Yes, you
on
are.
X. You can follow me at TJ underscore Krilowicz on X/Twitter, and then TJ.Krilowicz on Instagram. But anyways, that'll be episode 80 of the 214 Sports Show. Once again, we deeply value your time and your appreciation for this podcast. And hopefully we'll have some better news for you next week on episode 81. Have a good weekend.